Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news as Manchester United are linked to Gyokeres. Are we about to get the dream? Manchester United, can Ruben Amorim get what apparently he wants? Quite a significant update coming in the last few hours. Also, a big drop from the Mail in relation to Onana. Remember, it was the Mail who dropped about Cunha. So could there be something in this? Is he staying or is he going? We'll look into that as well. And we've got a few other bits to get into. Little bit early tonight because obviously it's Champions League night, but our turn will come on Thursday. We were previewing the game on the 2 o'clock show today. Very excited about that. But let's start off by saying that we're sponsored on this stream by Manscaped. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. 20% off and free delivery to your house. Don't get it delivered to someone else's. They'll think, why does my neighbour trim their bush? But well, they might be quite pleased by that, but you might not want your neighbour to know that. Link is in the description. As always, you can get 20% off, free shipping. I've got my little bag of goodies here. The beard trimmer's fantastic. It's got 20 different lengths on it. All are waterproof. All come with a light on them. You got the handyman for the tidy up. You got the weed whacker for up the nose. And of course, you got the creme de la creme, the Manscaped lawnmower. There's a bit little hair on that. Well, I have used it. Well, I'm proud to say I've used it. I'm not proud when I use it. That would actually probably would make it easier. But move the face out of the way. But yeah, 20% off, free worldwide shipping. Code is TUS20. Check it out with Manscaped. That's what it's there to do. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. The lawnmower. Could be, oh, bloody hell. That's not the lawnmower. That's something else. Ah, there it is. There we go. In action. Right, let's get into it. I tell you what, Manchester United, you need to trim the grass to make the yard look bigger yourself. You need to get rid of the rubbish and bring in the quality. You need to trim the grass to make the squad look better, basically. So, look, this is the story. It's coming in from Plettigol. Now, Florian Plettenberg is obviously a journalist you should know by now, based out in Germany, been very good, certainly last summer. I wouldn't say he's Fabrizio Romano. He wouldn't call himself Fabrizio Romano. I wouldn't say he's David Ornstein either. He is Florian Plettenberg. He is Plettigol on X, and he does get some things right. So when he came, I actually saw this afternoon, and I said to Matt, our admin, I said, it feels like he's missed a couple of steps, because the update was this. There's still no agreement with Man United and Gyokeres. What do you mean there's still no agreement? I didn't even know we were negotiating. What do you mean there's still no agreement? It's like my mate coming down the pub and saying, Carol won't marry me. I didn't even know you were dating Carol. What's going on? And it feels a little bit like that because it says there's still no agreement with Man United and Gyokeres. He hasn't given United the green light yet. Concrete talks have taken place. Ruben Amorim is very keen on a reunion. Other clubs are in the race. And I tell you what, there may be no hope of Gyokeres because that's where I was last night, but I'll take that. Gary Barlow, absolutely fantastic, Mark. Absolutely incredible. It is, because I don't even really understand what that update is. I don't. It feels like we've missed a few steps of United are interested in Gyokeres. United are going to have talks with Gyokeres. Amorim wants Gyokeres. It feels like we've missed all those steps to get to. Still no agreement yet. He hasn't given a green light yet. Concrete talks have taken place. Ruben Amorim very keen on a reunion. I mean, that just seems like we've jumped from nowhere to somewhere. This sort of came out at 3 o'clock this afternoon UK time. So let's say, 3-4 hours ago. I was hoping that we would get to a point where Fabrizio Romano or a David Ornstein would come out and give us a bit of a clarity on this. Because I think Gyokeres is just a fan theory, really, isn't it? It's not. We've never really had anything. It's Liam Delap. It's Liam Delap. Last week it was Liam Delap. So I think that's where I assume we are. But I will grab onto this, even if it's nonsense. I will grab onto this, even if it's not correct. I will grab onto this because this is the striker I think we should be going for. I really do want Cunha, and we've got to get that deal done as well, of course. But if there's a chance, if there's a slim chance, I'm all for it because I think he could be extraordinary at Manchester United. I think he works really well with Ruben Amorim. And I think when we've got a manager that has a system that not many people understand, the more players you can bring in who know the system, the quicker and better your job is going to be. And we know we need another striker. We know we need an experienced striker. So this guy sort of ticks all the boxes, doesn't he? A lot of people saying no chance. Look, I don't know what people understand. Like, we might have newbies here, in which case, I'll allow it. But what I will say is that obviously I can tell you news about Delap. I can tell you about Onana. We'll talk about that in a minute because we've had information on that. I've had no information on Gyokeres, and we are reacting to a story about Gyokeres from a journalist that has been right in the past. So he's also been wrong in the past. But that is what we're doing. So you can get angry in the chat. You can get excited in the chat. You can moan in the chat. And you can be optimistic in the chat. But what you cannot do is stop spreading bullshit when I've just told you where it came from. I've got no desire to spread bullshit. I've got no need to spread bullshit. All I can spread is the story and the hope that there's some truth in it. Because this is the player I really think we should be going all out for. This is the player I think we should be, putting our most effort into now. What do I think about the story? I don't know. I think sometimes, Romano does it. You can revisit a story and pass it off as today. Maybe this was something from before. Maybe it's something new. But look, the clarity's there. No agreement yet. Hasn't given the green light yet. Concrete talks have taken place. Amorim really wants him. Other clubs are in the race. I mean, I'd take that. My assumption is we're not even in the race. So I will take that. But where I think we are here is that if you don't get in the... Look, if Liam Delap is waiting to see if we're in the Champions League before signing for Manchester United, there's no way that Gyokeres isn't waiting to find out whether we're in the Champions League before signing for Manchester United. And also, you've got to find the money to do it. So I think that, like many deals this summer, it will depend on what happens in the Europa League. And I'm comfortable with that. But as I say, where we were this morning, it was just a little story. Where we were last night was, we should be doing this. Where we are tonight is, apparently, we are looking at it. So maybe tomorrow... Fabrizio or Dropper, we're in really advanced talks. I don't know. I hope so, because I would love to be in that. A couple of people saying spin. You know what? I've done videos called spin, but do you understand what spin is? What's the spin? Where is the spin? Like, I don't even understand what the spin is. Doesn't say we're getting him. Doesn't say we've given the green light. Says we want him. Said we're in talks for him. Where's the spin? That's a negative. Why would you put a story out there that you want him if you know you're not getting him? It just pisses the fans off. So I don't think you understand the concept of spin. For me, spin is when you've just been beaten 4-0 at home by Liverpool and you're buying Gyokeres. That's spin. I don't actually understand what the spin is 2 nights before the Europa League, putting it out there that you're in talks with Gyokeres. I mean, what does it do? I want it to happen. I don't think it is going to happen. So actually, it will just irritate me when it doesn't happen. So I don't get what the spin is, because I was assuming that Delap's the player we're going for because we're bloody useless. This just, saying that we're in for him just angers people again when we don't get him, when we get Delap. So I don't think you understand the concept of spin there. Spin is done to, generate a positive vibe from a negative. There isn't really a negative. Especially if it's not going to happen. I don't get what the spin is on that. Explain it to me. Hi, Mark. We should get the Cunha deal ASAP because it will show other players how, if it comes, I might do. Okay, I'll try that one again. I haven't had a drink, Eric. Hi, Mark. We should get the Cunha deal ASAP because it will show other players, wow, if he comes, I might do too. That's it. Give me a star. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. So Cunha signs for Man United, and it shows other players, yes, this is a good place to come. Yeah, and I think, that's a positive spin. Yeah, get the Cunha deal early. Might be the only one you do, but it will shed us in a good light. It will shed Ineos in a good light, yeah. The Duke, thank you very much for your super chat. He says, for 50 million, I think we should be in the race for Dean H. Hulson, I think. Dorgu, Yoro, Dean, Heaven, Amas. Let's at least be great in one thing next season. That's a very young defence, mate. Is there a chance this story kind of protects Ineos because they aren't confident we'll win the Europa? They can say we didn't win it. We can't afford Gyokeres. Yeah, I mean, I sort of get that one, Jacob, and maybe that's what somebody was talking about in relation to spin there. But I think Sir Jim Radcliffe has got far bigger things to concern himself with than we were going to buy Gyokeres, but we didn't win the Europa League, because it's on him if we're not in Europe. So I don't see how they can spin that. I don't think they can go, hey everybody, I know you're really angry with us, but we would have bought Gyokeres if we hadn't won the Europa League. Blame Amorim. No, we'll blame you at the end of the day. Yeah, we will. Oh, God, just before I talk about Onana, I don't know whether you saw the video I did on Terry's channel, Football Terry. So we do it every Tuesday, just reacting to clips from the weekend. Oh, my God, I know not everybody will have watched it, but you can definitely check that out. But, oh, my God, this is for you. This is for you. Thank me later. So you might have seen this after the Bournemouth game on Sunday on Sky Sports. And I'm going to talk, we've got an update on Onana coming in from Chris Wheeler. But after the game against Bournemouth at the weekend, Gary Neville, Jamie Redknapp, Sky presenter, I think his name's Dave Timpson or something like that. I don't listen to him. And Daniel Sturridge, they're all talking about Man United, yeah? And Redknapp, get ready for this. This is on national TV. So if you don't live in the UK, imagine this being primetime TV talking about Man United. Primetime TV. They've got earpieces to tell them, you've got that wrong, you idiot. Correct him. Jamie Redknapp sits there on primetime TV in front of millions of people going, well, it's getting a bit repetitive, really. We've blamed the owners. We've blamed the manager. We've blamed the players. Really, the manager should be getting more out of what he's got. You look at what Eddie Howe's done at Newcastle. He's got more out of what he's got. And they're all going, like, nodding bloody prats, yeah? Okay. This is on Prime TV, yeah? Nobody pulls him up on it, yeah? So, for one, we're bored of blaming the manager. We're bored of blaming the owner. We're bored of blaming the owners and the players. So let's blame the manager now. What stupid logic's that? Maybe you keep blaming the owners and the players because they are responsible. You can't just go, we're bored of that. Let's blame Amorim. But the best bit is, Amorim should be getting more out of the players. Really, you look at what Eddie Howe did at Newcastle. Can I just, this couldn't get any better, Jamie. This couldn't get any better. This is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. So you've got to look at what Eddie Howe did at Newcastle, and Amorim needs to get more out of his players like Eddie did. It's brilliant. It's so good because in the October of 21, Saudis bought Newcastle. In the November of 21, they appointed Eddie Howe. In the January of 22, they spent £100 million. It's perfect. You couldn't get a more different scenario. Apparently, Eddie Howe got the best out of what he had. No, he got appointed by rich owners and was given £100 million a few weeks later. But Ruben Amorim, who came in at the same time and was given sod all, he has got to be like Eddie Howe. I'm sure he'd bloody love to be Eddie Howe. I'm sure he'd love to have £100 million in January. What a prat. And you know what? They all stand there going, even the presenter who should have a producer in his ear going, stop him. He's talking shit again. Tell him to talk about trainers. That's national TV in the UK. And you wonder why some of us get so fed up and don't trust them. That's an opinion in front of millions, not been fact-checked. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And that's why communities like this are winning. Because you will call me. There's intelligent people in this live chat. You'll tell me if I get it wrong. Ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. He's got to get more out of the players. He's got to get more out of the players like Eddie Howe did. Yeah, fucking hell. Oh, You're talking out your arse, mate. You're talking out your arse. Anyway, let's move on. We can come back to that. I've got topical stuff here. Right, so next story. This is coming in from the Mail. There's been a drop this evening from Chris Wheeler. He says, reports of a deal with Andre Onana and Saudi team Neom are premature, as Ruben has decided to prioritise other positions in the summer transfer window. They say that there is interest from there, but there's also interest from other clubs if Manchester United decide to sell Onana. But at the moment, he may not be going because other positions are a priority. Now, look, this might cause some people some concern that Onana might be our goalkeeper next season, but actually, this is a really accurate update on the situation. We spoke about this in the international break. I told you from a very good source that Manchester United's manager, Ruben Amorim, wants his own goalkeeper. He wants his own goalkeeper the same way most top managers want their own goalkeeper. He wants to replace Onana. He doesn't dislike the guy. He's quite popular, but it's not his goalkeeper, and he's not comfortable with him as his goalkeeper. However, he can't replace him if Sir Jim Ratcliffe doesn't replace him. And the cold, harsh truth is there are other priorities ahead of the goalkeeper. So Onana may well be our goalkeeper next season because, like in previous years, you keep people like Lindelof for 8 years because you're always dealing with something else. So Onana could be our goalkeeper next season, but this will just emphasise the enormity of the challenge that a Man United manager faces, because they come in and say, I don't want this, but for 3 years they'll end up with it. So realistically, I don't have a problem with it because it happens all the time. It's true. My personal take is, though, and this is probably going to go down like a lead balloon, and I might be really, really wrong on this because this is just an opinion. My personal take is we will get rid of Onana this summer. My personal take is that Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to be seen to back Ruben Amorim because he looked an absolute idiot with what he did with Ten Hag last summer. So I don't think Sir Jim Ratcliffe will want to go into next season with Onana in goal for Amorim when he knows everybody knows that Amorim wants to replace him. And I don't think he'll want him to go into next season sending the message that we're still using players we don't want because we can't get rid of them. I might be wrong on that, but that's sort of the situation we're in. I feel I need to respond to this super chat here from Brad because there's a lot of people in the chat saying condolences and I haven't read it. Apologies. Mark, my mates, has arranged a clap at 5 minutes in the stadium at the Arsenal game for his daughter Isla, who is 5 years old and died Easter Sunday. Rory Talks Football posted about it as well. Can you shout it out to draw more attention to it, please? Says Brad Payne. Well, thank you for your super chat, Brad. I mean, I would have done that anyway if you'd have been able to tell me about it. If you can let me know the tweet, I'm more than happy to go and retweet that now. Obviously, this is a United Stand channel, but I can see from the response in the chat, you know, this is what this community is all about. And obviously, we'll spread that as much as we can. I don't know how many Arsenal fans are going to be talking about it, but I'll certainly mention it on That's Football when I go over there as well, because I know sometimes people are watching the watch along before the game in the stadium. So I will certainly mention that. Brad, 5 minutes clap. 5 minutes. 5-year-old Isla. Tragic news as well. Really, really sad. Thoughts and condolences with those involved with that. John says, someone else said, look at Arne Slot, not just Eddie Howe. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm here to give the truth as much as we can. And I find it as laughable as I find it appalling that somebody could stand there on national TV and make themselves look a prat, but then they don't make themselves look a prat because no one calls them out. So actually it goes out there as the truth. That's the horrible thing. But look, answer the question. Is Jamie Redknapp right that Ruben Amorim should be getting more out of these players? No. No, he's not. You know why he's not right? Because Ruben Amorim was brought into a team that doesn't play 3-4-3. So therefore, when we recruited him, we were clearly bringing him in to change things. So when he comes in and says, I can't get a tune out of these players because they don't know what they're doing. It's not his job to get a tune out of those players because he's been brought in to change things. And he hasn't been given a transfer window or a pre-season. So Redknapp's talking out his arse. And the fact that he compares it to Eddie Howe is hilarious. And the fact that someone would compare it to Arne Slot is criminal. Arne Slot's done a fantastic job, but he inherited a team that plays a similar system to him and was one of the best teams in Liverpool, in the world, in the UK, in the Premier League last season. So yeah, just nonsense. They spout pure nonsense. It's actually quite nice to be able to ridicule them because they spout absolute shite. Is there a chance this kind of story... I've done that one from Jacob as well. I'd rather keep Onana if it meant getting Gyokeres. If Onana leaves and we get Delap, then that's making weaker, in my opinion. I think Will Scott has dropped an absolute beauty. A worldie there. Because I was actually going to come back to this, Will. People won't believe me now. Give Will the credit. But I actually was going to say this. Because it's never cut and dry. And what I mean by that is that, yes, Amorim wants to replace Onana. But this is not Man City. This is not Arsenal. It's not Liverpool. The budgets we're working with will not allow us to just go, you can get rid of anything you want. I mean, Amorim can't get rid of everything. He can't walk into the boardroom and say, I want to get rid of 10 players and I want to bring 10 players in, because they will say no. So whatever he wants, he can't have. He's got to do it in priority order. I accept that. I think you accept that. That's just the way it is. We're not Man City. And maybe even Man City can't do that now. FFP and PSR do exist. You can't just get rid of a whole team in one summer. There might be an element of them sitting him down and saying, look, give us your list. What's the priority? We'll get rid of 4 or 5 of them this summer. And then next summer we'll get rid of the other 5. And we'll just have to do it steadily, which is why they keep saying we'll do it steadily. So I agree with Will in a way that if the scenario is we can get you Gyokeres, we can get you Cunha, but we won't be able to replace your goalkeeper this summer, then if I'm Amorim and I go, I really want the goalkeeper, and they go, well, okay, well, we can't get you Gyokeres, we'll get you Delap, but we'll get you a goalkeeper, then I can live with that, because that's on Amorim then. And I know what I would choose. So, and that's what I mean. Like, you've got to go through priorities. In an ideal world, and at a club like Manchester United, we should be solving the problems straight away. But this is not an ideal world. This is the Man United, the Glazers own, and we won't be able to solve every problem this summer because we've been shit at getting rid of players for a decade. But I would sit here and say, if somebody told me the scenario is Cunha, Delap, and you get a new goalkeeper, or Cunha, Gyokeres, and you keep Onana, I will keep Onana for another year. I will keep him for another year, 100%, because as bad as some people think he is, and he is a liability at times, he's not awful. You know, he's not total shit. We could get through next season with him, fine. We're not winning the league next year anyway. Our job next year is hopefully to get back into Europe again. So we will have a better chance of getting into Europe with Gyokeres up front and Onana in goal than a new goalkeeper in Delap, in my opinion. But it might not be that close. Do you think Onana's previous Champions League run might affect the decision if we qualify, says TBH? What Champions League run are you talking about? The successful one with Inter where he got to the final, or the one with United where he booted us out? I feel like you want Viktor more than Amorim, says Fahad. It's a weird one. You're wrong. I want Viktor Gyökeres more than I want Amorim. No, I want Viktor Gyökeres because of Amorim. I think it will make Amorim's job easier, and that's why I want Gyokeres. I want Cunha more than I want Gyokeres. I've said that before, but that deal is sort of in the works. We need a striker. I'd love to do it. Surely Amorim was told his budget for his project when he took the job. Are you saying he was lied to, says Constantine? There's no way, mate. There is no way in a million years he was told the truth in November. Not in a million years. We will never know, and he will never tell us, and he will probably tell us he was told it. But there is absolutely no way what he was told in November is the reality now. There's just no way. And I'll tell you why. United would not be able to tell him his budget in the summer. what they would say is, we want to give you £200 to £300 million in your first summer. But when you actually get there, they'll be able to go, well, we didn't qualify for the Europa League. We've not been able to sell the players we thought we could. Times are hard. There's no way he's signed up to a summer transfer window where he's living on scraps. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They'll have changed the story. If they have changed the story, we don't know yet, Constantine. Let's see on August the 31st. Rest in peace, Isla. Thoughts and prayers to Brad and co, says Obi Morgan. Lovely message there, Obi. And the Duke says, of course, De Ligt, Harry, Lissandro are there. We would just have quality depth and a future in defence. Side note, I vote for a goalkeeper, a midfielder, a cam and a striker, and I'm praying, says the Duke. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. But yeah, it's a good point from Will Scott there, definitely, about how, would you get rid of Onana if it meant we couldn't get Gyokeres, but you get Delap? Personally, I think we need to get the best players we can get in. And if that means we have to keep someone like Onana for another year, I probably would do it, to be fair. I think he will go this summer, though. I do think he'll go. I think the Onana situation just feels like, let's just get through to the end of the season and change it. But look, you know what? I always say this. There are still a good 4-5 weeks left in this season. And if you are a player that's in doubt to be leaving, whether you be Rasmus, Garnacho, Onana, whoever, you're going to be starting the games over the next few weeks. You can change the course of that. If Onana goes and plays really well and we win the Europa League, I don't think people will be clambering to get rid of him like they probably are at the moment. Can we do a minute's silence on the United stand for the 5-year-old Mark, says Jay? It's a great point, Jay, but it's being done in the 5th minute of the Arsenal game. So if you want to do that, then that's the time to do it, yeah. Amorim never taking job, is he new getting Delap? What? Amorim never taking job, is he new getting Delap? Amorim's never taking the job if he knew he was getting Delap, says Harvey. Well, this is a great point because there's absolutely no point. There's absolutely no way that Ruben Amorim would have been coming into Manchester United in November saying, get me Liam Delap. There's just no way. Nobody can tell me that. Nobody can convince me of that. Do you want to know why? Because Liam Delap's 3 seasons before this season weren't that good. I think he was on loan at 3 different championship clubs and hardly scored any goals. And at the start of this season was his first decent season. And in late October, he'd only had 2.5 months in it. So there's just no way that Ruben Amorim was going, get me Liam Delap in November. Absolutely not. This is a player that over the season has become a target. I would imagine, and this is a calculated guess, I would imagine that Amorim's striker target... look, I would imagine that Amorim's 2 main targets when he came to the club were get me 2 players out of Sporting in the summer, Kenda and Gyokeres. Obviously, Kenda's going to Chelsea, which is incredible, and Gyokeres might be going to Arsenal. So it just shows you how he's probably come in from Sporting. He's built that club. He knows those players. He made that system. He's probably come in and said, get me Kenda and Gyokeres, and they both could be going to Premier League clubs that aren't Man United. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that works out. Would you rather United win the Champions League or England win the World Cup, says Mohammed? I've been asked this so many times, Mohammed. I'll answer it and people will say bollocks, but I don't care about England winning the World Cup anymore. Southgate sort of popped all of that. I remember England getting to the Euro 96 semi-final and the Italia 90 when I was a kid, and I was so excited. I've watched England play 2 Euros finals and wasn't excited as those semi-finals. So I don't massively get... Look, when the World Cup's on and the Euro's on, it's a bubble and there's nothing else on the telly, and I enjoy it. But I'm 100% Man United over England. Premier League over the World Cup every day of the week. You said Champions League. I say Premier League. I'm not that bothered. And there's so many Man United fans who are like that, and there's so many Liverpool fans who are like that. I support England because I'm English, but I don't massively give a shit. I really don't. And I know some of you do, and some of you will support other countries, but I don't. And I've been really consistent about this. I don't care. And I don't know why people would say you're lying and it's bullshit anyway, because why would you lie about that? Why would you lie? It's It's the minority view. I care more about what Man United do than England. Yeah. Do you think Onana's previous... I've done that one. Thank you very much. Not going for Gyokeres is a crime, says Tusha. I can't forgive. This is a small club mentality, not United. Blazers out. Well, maybe we will go for him. Maybe that's what that story is all about from Plettigol. I'd certainly expect someone like Fabrizio to comment on it, but we'll have to wait and see if he does. Also in the mail, they mentioned Mastantuono, the River Plate next Messi player. So their take on it is that Man United are big fans of him, but Real Madrid and PSG are also closely following him. River Plate want to work out a new deal for him as his current contract has a 38 million release clause. I mean, that just does not sound good at all, does it? It really doesn't. I think that, look, as I said to you before, I just do not think we're signing this player. I think that it's just another... I keep forgetting that player. Every bloody stream I say this. It's happened to us so many times. We've been linked to so many players from Argentina that we don't get. We were linked to Enzo Fernandez, weren't we, before he went to Benfica? We were linked to that guy who went to Chelsea last year. This happens to us all the time. You get really good sources saying in Argentina that Man United are interested, and we never get them. Anselmino, that's it. I'll never remember it. I always think he's called Perryman for some reason. I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, look, I'm not wasting any time on that. If we get him, great, but I really genuinely don't think we will. Marlow FC says, I'm ready to forget and forgive everything because United just released a new retro kit. Yeah, it's the 1991 Cup Winners' Cup kit and tracksuit top. And as much as I was tempted, I just thought up yours this time. I really did. I got the George Best one, the blue one. I've worn it about twice. I got the Stone Roses one. I've worn it about twice. I'm just not wasting my money this time. They're nice, but I'm just not going to waste my time on it because the club's a bloody mess. And yeah. I've already got the 90. I've got an original 91 top anyway, so I wouldn't be buying that anyway. But yeah, that's what it's all about. 91. Daniel Pimentel says, thank you very much for your super chat, pal. He says, due to my job, I hardly ever catch you on the live, but I wanted to remind you that as United fans really appreciate all the work you put into the United stand. Thank you very much, pal. Really appreciate that. Can't do it without you. Not going for done that one from Tusha as well. I'm Amorim out if we lose to Spurs in the final. Losing to Spurs means he doesn't have technical ability to beat Spurs, who is in a similar state to us, says Min. Min, I'm very happy that you are thinking about the final. I don't even want to think about the final. I don't even want to contemplate the final. I don't want to jinx being in the final. I mean, what I would say, though, is the favourites are the club we're playing on Thursday and the Thursday after. And if we get to the final, as we've seen before, it only takes a mistimed tackle, a dodgy handball, and you can lose a game of football. So, look, I ain't even thinking about the final. Obi Morgan says, an experienced striker, centre midfielder and goalkeeper will do wonders for our spine. The rest will take care of itself over a few windows. Then we can think about Al plates. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Thank you, pal. We can't be thinking about finals, says Chris. We've got to think about the next two games. That United guy, he's one of our members, got a badge next to his name, says, I read something this morning that Man United have entered the race to sign Rodrigo. I don't think it's credible, but I wanted to hear it from you. Yeah, well, you're not hearing it from me. We're all hearing it from you. And what you will hear from me is bullshit. A lot of bullshit on a lot of shows, really. But no, yeah, definitely bullshit. Matthew Gartell, can I just say, I've never spoke. I recognise the name. You're one of our members, but I think your badge, not your members badge, you've got one of those, but your username badge is amazing. I love it. I should have that. MG, love it. Absolutely love it. Arsenal bench looks weak tonight, says Paul Murray. Well, we're going to be live for that on That's Football in about half an hour. Spurs are favourites to win the trophy with the bookies, says Joe 90. Yeah, I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is. MG's the car brand, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's what that badge is. Yeah, no, I think with regards to the situation with Rodrigo, it's a load of bollocks. But I think he's a fantastic player. And if they want to sell him, then that's up to them. Little bit of breaking news coming out about Marcus Rashford. This is coming in from iPaper Sport, which is a London-based outlet. Barcelona are ready to move for Marcus Rashford, but are unwilling to pay £40 million. I tell you what, I don't even want to think about it, but this is a recipe for disaster. I can see the Rashford situation being an absolute bloody nightmare. And this is why I don't want to talk about it. But I have warned you about this. A lot of people have agreed about this. Rashford was out of Amorim's plans from middle December. He didn't move until the end of January. Like the whole of January, he didn't play football because he was waiting for Barcelona. And then it didn't happen, so he did a move at the end of the window to Villa. I can see a similar situation again, where I want to go to Barcelona, and Man United are talking to Barcelona, and Barcelona are going, we're not paying what you want. We'll wait till the end of the window. And we'll hit the end of the window again, and he'll end up going on the tour again, and he'll end up playing pre-season again, and he might even be on the bench for the first few games of the season again, and it'll just be one big disruption as Barcelona and Rashford try and get their big move cheap. And then at the end of the window, if United hold their ground, he'll have to go on loan to another Premier League club again. I can see this being a bloody nightmare because Barcelona don't have any bloody money. So they will try and get the player they want for next to nothing. And we will hold out and wait, and Rashford will wait, and we'll be in this bloody stupid situation again where he's on tour, he's training, every bloody press conference, is he staying, smiley face, we've sorted it all out like Ten Hag and Sancho, and it'll all be big fake fucking smiles for him to be loaned out to Villa again at the end of August. It's just not going to get dealt with quickly. I think ultimately he's going to go. I think if you read anything about Amorim, he's really stubborn, and I don't believe for 1 minute Rashford will have appreciated what Amorim said about him, but I can imagine a scenario where all summer they're just smiling and pretending they're getting on, the same as Ten Hag and Sancho did. And what does that do for your pre-season? What does that do for the budget? What does that do for the transfer window? So I think this Barcelona dream or reality is a bloody nightmare for us because Barcelona aren't just going to rock up at the start of June and go, there's 40 million quid. They're going to rock up at the end of August and go, there's 5 million. You know, they haven't got any money. So, look, I don't want to talk about Rashford, even though I've just spent the last few minutes talking about him. But sometimes you have to talk about it. And I think we all need to accept that this Barcelona-Rashford story is going to be a bloody nightmare this summer. And it's going to drag on and on and on. Joe Blogg says Eddie Howe has spent 500 million at Newcastle as per transfer market. Yeah. Incredible story from Redknapp. There is an upset, though. Bodo beating Spurs, says Sartak. No, I don't care about Spurs. I don't care about Bodo Glimt. Our cup final is starting on Thursday against the favourites. And if we beat them, we're into the final. And then we talk about the final. I don't want Rashford stinking up the club, says Rob Always United. I think he will be here for a lot of the summer. I think he'll be here for the kit launch. I think he'll be here for pre-season. I just think it's going to be... And you know, the bad thing about it is it just stirs up division in the fan base because you'll have Rashford FC saying we're cooking, and you'll have people who don't like him saying get rid of him, and then Amorim will have to lie, and Rashford will have to lie, and then it's just... We went through this with Sancho and Ten Hag, and I can't believe we're going to go through it again. If I was Amorim and I was promised Gyokeres and Kenda this summer, if I took the job early, but I'm not getting them, I'd ask for my P45. But that's just me, says Jackie Boy. Thank you very much. Would you sell him cheaper to cut our losses, says Daniel Winstanley. I think from a negotiating point of view, you would probably say to Barcelona, how much do you want to pay? And if they'll give us 30, you take it. 30 is a quick deal, I'd take it. But what do Barcelona want to pay? They might say, we'll give you 20. And then they might negotiate that down. So it's dangerous, isn't it? You've got to try and get what's best for you, but it won't be good. It won't be a good... I can't see it being a good situation. Constantine says, many of our fans are overlooking Bilbao. They defend well and have tons of pace down the wings. It's almost like you watched my preview. Check out the preview. Yes, you're very right. Just another story coming out from the Mail, by the way. Delo could be back for the Europa League final if Manchester United reach it. I think these sort of things concern me. If we get to the Europa League final, we'll have done it without Delo. I don't think he's the sort of player that I'd be like, oh, yeah, get back fit. I like Delo. He'd certainly be a decent player to have back for the final, but, you know, it's not like having Ahmad back, is it? And how fit would he actually be for the final as well? Look, we're going to have to do it without Delo. If he's back for the final, great. If we're in it, that's even better. But, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Apparently, Ancelotti is considering bringing Casemiro back to the Brazil national team, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for Manchester United, actually. Yeah, I don't really know. I'm not too sure. Not too sure what I think about that. All the travelling at his age. I'm acting like he's my gran. I've read this before. Oh, Chris Wheeler. One of the reasons Ruben Amorim picked such a strong lineup at the Vitality on Sunday was because Bournemouth play a similar style to Thursday's Europa League opponents. Yeah, I mean, we spoke about that in the preview, didn't we? I mean, look, honestly, I think that's a bonus. I think if we'd played Southampton, he'd have picked a strong team. I think he has to, because the players haven't played for a week. And, you know, you can't, what the hell? You can't leave players not playing for that long. So Tom Heaton is in talks over signing a 1-year contract extension to remain Man United's third choice goalkeeper. I mean, look, people who get excited about third choice goalkeepers, yeah, get a life. I mean, they never play, and Tom Heaton's probably the perfect sort of third choice goalkeeper, isn't he? Who's going to be the next Madrid manager, says Nath Footy. I think it's going to be Alonso. Why can't we speak about our women's team, says Samuel? You can do, but we don't on the United Stand because it's not something I watch. So, you know, maybe you could start a petition for there to be a weekly video about the women's team on the United Stand, and we'd certainly consider it. But I'm not about to start talking about something I don't know anything about. Some people say you do it every day, but I genuinely don't know anything about the Man United women's team. I hope they do well, but I don't watch it. So, you know, it's a bit like ice hockey. I like it, but I don't watch it. I don't have time. If you could only get one... And look, before people start moaning, my daughter plays academy football at under 15s. So I watch her play. I like watching women's football when I get the chance, but I haven't got the time to invest in the Man United women's team. And I don't watch the youth team as much either. I just don't have the time. I spend a lot of my time watching football. I have a family as well, and I prioritise what's important. And Manchester United first team is what I do. Sorry. So I had that conversation in my head, but preempted what people were going to start saying. Even if we win the Europa League and get Champions League football aside, the financial benefits, would you say it was worth it? Yes. Look, I've said this before and I'll say it to you again. There are people out there that have said, I don't want us to get into the Europe next year because I think we need the full week for Amorim to work his magic. My problem with that is full week to work his magic with shit. Because if we don't qualify for Europe, he won't have the same budget to bring in the same quality. And what is the point in him having a whole week to work with shit? It's like having 2 weeks in the international break to work with your tactics, then realising most of your squad's on international duty. Same thing happens next year. The whole week having to train with the players that aren't good enough because you didn't get the players in you needed because you didn't qualify for Europe. But there is a financial mercenary point of view that qualifying for the Champions League gives you more money to spend in the transfer market. That's a reason to want it. If I'm being completely honest and selfish, I actually want us to be playing in Europe. I've watched and will be watching Arsenal play at PSG in about half an hour. I watched Aston Villa in the Champions League quite a lot. We weren't playing till Thursday, so Tuesday, Wednesday, I was watching Champions League games. I enjoyed it. I want Man United to be in it. I hate it when we're not in it. I want us to be in Europe next season. I know we won't win it, but I want us to be in it. You know, I'm not one of those people that thinks we should hide away and rehearse. I think the best rehearsals are the ones where it actually matters. And I want the world to see how far away we are so we can do something about it. Andy Cheetham says, did you see the worldie from the River Plate guy the other night? Take a look and get the checkbook out. I did. It was a good free kick, wasn't it? Yeah, we spoke about that. It was a very good free kick. United need to do something drastic in the transfer market, says Arrow. Yeah, well, look, we can talk about everything as we have done, and we can dissect the news as we do, and we can add our opinion, which we are, but I think we all know, beyond the Cunha story, I think we all know that what happens on Thursday and the following Thursday dictates what happens in the summer. And we'd all like that not to be the case. I think if you're Arsenal, whether you win the Champions League or not, you're in it next year and you know what your budget is. I think if you're Manchester City, whether you win the FA Cup or not, you know you're in the Champions League. They are going to be in the Champions League and they know what they can do. If you're Chelsea, you know, even if you don't get top 5, you're in the Europa League. So, you know, there is that money coming in. But for United, we're in this position like we were last year, where if we didn't win the FA Cup, we weren't going to be in Europe. And we're in the same position this year, where if we don't win the Europa League, we're not going to be in Europe. And that is going to dictate to us what happens. The player that Andy Cheetham was talking about, by the way, was Mastantuono, who we've spoken about already, who I don't think we were in for. I really don't think we're in for. He will go to PSG or Real Madrid. He will. And look, you know what? Let's be blunt about where we are as a football club. Last summer, we took Ugarte off PSG because they didn't want him anymore because they wanted Nunez from Benfica. Time gone by, we'd have been taking Nunez from Benfica. And in fact, we often spoke about how we'd like Nunez from Benfica. But he went to PSG so they could offload Ugarte to us. And I like Ugarte. I saw something today about Ugarte and his stats compared to other midfielders in the Premier League in relation to ball recoveries, and it's very impressive. And I think he is a good player, but that's where we are now. João Neves, sorry, not Nunez. João Neves. He will be playing tonight. Very good player, Vitinha. I'm looking forward to it. But that's sort of where we are at the moment, and we need to change that. We really do. Do you think Cunha is best in class, says Jamie88? I think Arsenal were looking at him in January, and then he signs the new contract, and I think Arsenal have looked at it now and gone, where would Cunha fit into our team? He's not really a winger, he's not really a striker, and they've got Odegaard, they've also still got Havertz as the player behind that. I don't know whether he fits Cunha, I don't know whether Cunha fits their system. I mean, he fits our system like a bloody glove. So look, he is a very good player that's been looked at by a lot of clubs. He's not a Man United player yet, by the way. I just want to, warn people. He's not a Manchester United player yet. Fabrizio said, "Here we go" is coming soon. It is Wednesday tomorrow. I mean, what soon? What is soon? I don't know. Is Cunha the best in class or best we can get? Says La Familia. No, I think he's best in class in that area. I think there are maybe better players you could get, but I don't think he's the best we can get. I think there's better. I think there are better, but I think he's best in class for us, for what we would expect to be getting. And I've said it to you for a few months now. This is the player I would go for before I even knew we were going for him. So I'm very happy with it. If United don't win the Europa League, I would want them to go full throttle for domestic cups next season. No reason not to, says Jason. Yeah, but you know what, Jason? It's a fair point, but did we not go full throttle this year? I think we went full throttle this year. We just weren't better than Fulham. I don't think we're good enough to go full throttle for anything. I don't think we can sit there in the summer and go, well, at least we can win the FA Cup now. Like, we're not good enough to win the FA Cup. Look at where we are in the league. What makes you think that Man United are good enough to win a domestic cup next year when there's about 12 teams better than us. So I don't think that we can just say, if we're not in Europe, we can focus on the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, because I just don't think we're good enough to win them either at the moment. It's almost like a poisoned cycle, really. We need the Champions League to get better players in, but if we don't get the Champions League, we probably won't get better players in, and therefore we won't be able to compete for the domestic cups. Gabrielle's just gifted 5 memberships. Absolute legend. Gabrielle, give him a W like Damon just has. If United don't win the Europa, I would want them to... I've done that one from Jason as well. Appreciate that very much. Manchester United has reached out to Lamine Yamal's agent. Asger, I'm not even going to follow on. I'm not even going to finish that. Yeah, not even going to talk about that. Architect says, Liverpool bought Jota for 40 million and McAllister for 35 million. How did we get in this situation where Cunha could cost 65 when he's a 30 million pound player? Yeah, but Mbeumo's a 60 million pound player. Solanke cost over 60 million pounds. Casido cost 100 million pounds. So, you know, you can talk about Cunha being 60 something million, and I mean, Liverpool did very good business for McAllister, and they did very good business for Jota, admittedly. At the time, I couldn't believe how much they played for Jota. But Cunha at 62 million is about right. I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't think we're necessarily getting ripped off. And remember, that's a release clause. That clause is what it's going to cost everybody. It's not exclusive to Manchester United. So, yeah, of course, I'd like him to be cheaper. I don't think he's a 30 million pound player, by the way. I mean, is he a 60 million pound player? I don't know. I don't really know what the value of a player is anymore. I certainly think in today's market, Mbeumo is going to go for 50 million plus, and therefore I think Cunha has to as well. Romano update, says Rifat, United and Chelsea are well aware of Mastantuono's situation, but any deal will require paying his release clause, convincing the player and reaching an agreement with his agent, which we're not in for him. We're not in for him. I just don't believe it. What's your score prediction for the Arsenal game? I think Arsenal will win by at least 2 goals. Me says, I might be in the minority here. I just feel the hype around Garnacho would have been so high if we had to sign him now. I like Garnacho. I just think he's not getting the development he should have had, if we're being honest. Look, thanks everyone for watching tonight. I'm literally going to be live in about 15 minutes on That's Football for the Champions League, so join me there. Really enjoyed the show tonight, as usual. Back on the morning show tomorrow. So much to talk about there, but I think the most important bit is to spread the word about, is just how manipulatively, you know, almost fraudulent the mainstream are about our football club. I can't believe that clip from the weekend where they sort of go, we're bored of blaming the players and we're bored of blaming the ownership. So let's look at Amorim. I mean, what do you mean you're bored? Like, they are to blame. Just because you're bored of it doesn't mean you can go and blame somebody else. It's like somebody who keeps bloody stealing things from your shop. Oh, I'm bored of blaming you, so I'm going to blame you now. It's ridiculous mentality. But to actually stand there on national TV and say, look at Eddie Howe, you know, Amorim's got to get the best out of his players like Eddie Howe did. When Eddie Howe was given £100 million within the first few weeks of joining, it's disgusting. And it needs calling out. Right, get yourself over to That's Football. I'll see you there shortly. I'm sure you're going to all be watching it anyway, so watch it with me on That's Football. I'll see you over there in about 10 minutes. Take everyone over there, but take care. Speak to you in a bit.